Hey everyone, Merja here. Welcome to this live Q&A with me, my fellow introverts. It's great to be here with you today. So just a little reminder, these Q&As, we're going to do about 15 to 20 minutes depending on how many questions we have. I think we have 2 to date. For this one, if you're tuning in live and you get a question, type it into the comment section and I will see it while we're still live. And if we don't get to answer your questions when you're live, if you still think about something like maybe follow-on questions or anything like that, just pop them at the bottom in the comment section and we'll get to you when we have a chance. So thank you for being here with us today. And let's get to it. So, can you give me an example of how the maturity continuum can help me? How do I move to the next level? Okay, so first of all, let's talk about what the maturity continuum is in case there's somebody tuning in who doesn't know what we're talking about. So the maturity continuum is basically a tool or a way of understanding our level of maturity when it comes to in relation to things like relationships, for example, or money, or vocational work or whatever. But the maturity continuum goes from being dependent to being independent to then being interdependent. So the dependent, if we just look at, I'll just give you an example in our, as we develop as people. When we're infants, we're very, very dependent on our parents being fed, being clean, having a safe place, those kinds of things. We're very dependent. Then as we grow up, from about the what's called the terrible twos, we start to become more and more independent to a point of where we become so independent that we move out of the house and we're paying our own rent and we're paying our own electricity or the utilities, and we have our own car, so we're no longer dependent on our parents. And then once we ourselves are old enough and established enough within our own lives, we can have an interdependent relationship with our parents, whom now are like, it's like we're now at a level, we're equal people. And we're able to have equal relationships with these people that are mutually beneficial, mutually respectful, all those kinds of things, that we're coming together because we want to spend time together with our parents. So that's dependent to independent, and then to interdependent. Now, I'll give you another example. So let's just say that you are a family of 4 people, and you have, let's just do like a traditional gender roles and stuff. So you have husband and wife and 2 children. And let's just say again, traditionally the husband's working, so they're the main breadwinner for the household, and the wife is looking after the children. Now you might say that you are in a dependent relationship with your husband when it comes to your finances. So if you are only depending on your husband's income to have money to spend on anything, now you are in a dependent relationship financially with your husband. It also flips. So let's just say that your husband is working, and you're the wife and you're looking after the kids. Your husband is in a dependent relationship with you to look after the kids and the household. So they're depending on you to do those things. So to move that needle to independent would be that you both would have separate finances, and you both would do equally things independently with the children. And then the interdependent part of that is that you come together and you discuss openly how you're both going to contribute to this, how you both want to contribute to this financially, to this family, and how you both want to proactively contribute to the family in terms of looking after the children. So you go from these are the roles I have to have into these, like any one of us could have any one of the roles, and then into let's choose together how we're going to make this work. So that's a way, the financial and like familial way. But let's look at final example, let's look at relationships, so grown-up relationships. So when you're in a dependent relationship with your partner, it basically means that without your partner, you don't know where you belong. So let's just say there are a lot of people who want to get married and they put an awful lot of effort into their wedding as opposed to their marriage. These are people who want to define themselves by being somebody's husband or being somebody's wife or partner, whatever, however you want to wrap it. So this is a person who's dependent in a relationship with their partner. To be independent is in relationships is to know that you're both independent people and you both have the same equal amount of say in how your relationship goes. Now, the difference between the dependent and the independent in that is that if you want to be independent but you feel like you can't be exactly who you are, then you are in fact a dependent person. So you need to find a little bit more independence. You need to find a little bit more of who you are as a person so that you can then start building these interdependent relationships where you both come to the table as the independent people that you are, but wanting to come together and meld your lives. So there's a big difference between being in a dependent or even in a codependent relationship where you're both dependent on some dynamic to keep it going, and between that and the interdependent part of you, or the independent relationship where you actually choose to be with each other every day because you embrace the other person so much. So I hope that explains the maturity continuum to you. And you were saying, how do I move to the next level? So if you're in a dependent relationship, you learn more independence. And if you're in an independent relationship or independent space, then you learn to bring the other person in a little bit more again. So you go from basically, I can't live without you, into I'm all right and, whatever, into I choose to be with you. So those are the steps. Okay, next question. How can I learn to relax when I feel that there's so much on my plate? Okay, couple of questions back at you. Number one, why is there so much on your plate? Do you define yourself by how busy you are? That's question number one. If you do, then you need to do some inner parenting around why you're taking so much on your plate, so that why does it make you feel, do you feel like you're not good enough if you don't do more, right? So that's the first thing. And if you have no idea what I just said, then go and check out the 4 People Within course, which is an inner parenting course. It'll teach you how to do this. So that's my first question to you, is why do you have so much on your plate? Are there things you can delegate? Are there things that other people can do and are actually better at doing? Are you just saying yes? Are you saying yes to things to feel better about yourself? Those are all questions you need to ask of yourself if there's a lot on your plate. How you can relax is, number one, take stuff off your plate. Whatever that looks like. So I need more like precise examples so that I can give you more precise answers, because this is very general. So take stuff off your plate. The second thing is learn to say that I am okay right now. So even though you have this big massive list of things, let's just say I'll just take this list of things that I have to do. Here it is. There's a big list. And then we look at, okay, so I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 things on that list. So now I'm going to go like, okay, so 13 things to do today. How about I just get myself into a good space where I've made sure that I've been breathing enough, that I've nourished myself, that I have the energy to do it, and that I'm hydrated enough. So those 3 things first. So either you go for a walk or do breathing exercises, you make sure that you've eaten, that you have the energy to do it, and you make sure that you've drank enough water and not too much caffeine so that you are hydrated, so your head can function properly. So that's step number 2. First, take the stuff off your plate. Second, make sure that the basics, your physiological basics are covered. Step number 3, how you have less stuff on your plate, or how you can relax, is understanding that each one of these tasks, are they tasks that somebody will die if I don't do those things? So you start putting things into perspective. Is somebody going to die if I don't do those things? Then the next question is, who can do some of these things? Do I even have to do all of these things? Can somebody help me? If you're not good at asking for help, now's the time to learn. And then finally, just prioritize and do one task at a time and take a break after each task. If it takes you 3 days to do whatever amount of tasks were on this list, 13 or whatever it was, if it takes you 3 days to do it, then do it in 3 days. You don't have to do everything in the next hour. We've got addicted into thinking that we have to do everything right now. We don't have to do everything right now. Learn some patience, learn some inner parenting skills, and really tap into, who you are underneath and what's driving you to want to try and do these things all of these things straight away. So ask yourself, why is there so much on my plate? And start with that. All right. Any other questions? So just type into the comment section so I can see them. And if not, we're going to continue next week. But be as precise with your questions as possible, because it gives me an opportunity to be a lot more precise with my answers and really actually help you rather than just talk theoretically. All right, well, I don't see any comments, so I'll see you guys next week. Have a fantastic week.